Many years ago, I saw an ad that changed my life. At the time, I had a mindless job putting ads into a medical journal, and one of them was for birth control pills called Ovulin 21. And the ad said, Ovulin 21 works the way a woman thinks, by weekdays, not by cycle days. And the smiling woman, as you can see, has boxes in her head, and each box represents a day of the week. So Monday is washing day, Tuesday is ironing day. Now, this was a long time ago, but I knew there was something wrong with this ad. I couldn't exactly say what it was, but I knew there was something wrong. I took it home, and I put it with a magnet on my refrigerator. And then I began to collect other ads and put them up on the refrigerator, too. So soon I had a collage of ads up there. And as friends would come over, they'd say, "What's this?" And I'd say, "Well, you tell me." And we began looking at these images. And I started to see a pattern in the pictures, a kind of statement about what it means to be a woman in this culture. But I became very interested in the whole subject of beauty and of the image, of how much power it gives young women, but how short-lived and unfulfilling it ultimately is. And I kept collecting ads. In 1979, I made my first film, Killing Us Softly, which is still shown throughout the world. And in 1987, I remade it as Still Killing Us Softly. Now, here we are at the beginning of the new millennium. I want to look at what I said in those earlier films and see what's changed and what's stayed the same. In the original Killing Us Softly, I said that I would be asking of you something that no one has ever asked before, and that is to take advertising seriously. These days, we do take advertising more seriously. Advertising has increased from a $20 billion a year to a $180 billion a year industry. The average American is exposed to over 3,000 ads every single day and will spend 3 years of his or her life watching television commercials, just the commercials. The ads, as you know, are everywhere. They're on radio, television, newspapers, magazines, billboards, bumper stickers. Here, one company brags about its ability to put advertising in your face all over the place. And at the same time, everyone in America still feels personally exempt from the influence of advertising. So wherever I go, what I hear more than anything else is, I don't pay attention to ads. I just tune them out. They have no effect on me. Now, I hear this most often from people wearing Gap t-shirts, but that's another story. It certainly is true, in fact, it's more true than ever, that advertising is the foundation of the mass media. The primary purpose of the mass media is to sell products. Advertising does sell products, of course, but it also sells a great deal more than products. It sells values, it sells images, it sells concepts of love and sexuality, of romance, of success, and perhaps most important, of normalcy. To a great extent, advertising tells us who we are and who we should be. What does advertising tell us today about women? It tells us, just as it did 10 and 20 and 30 years ago, that what's most important about women is how we look. The first thing the advertisers do is surround us with the image of ideal female beauty. So we all learn how important it is for a woman to be beautiful and exactly what it takes. Women learn from a very early age that we must spend enormous amounts of time, energy, and above all, money, striving to achieve this ideal and feeling ashamed and guilty when we fail. And failure is inevitable because the ideal is based on absolute flawlessness. She never has any lines or wrinkles. She certainly has no scars or blemishes. Indeed, she has no pores. If anything, this ideal image has become far more impossibly perfect in recent years through the magic of computer retouching. Computers can do many things. For starters, they can alter a photograph to make it perfect. According to this magazine cover, Michelle Pfeiffer needs absolutely nothing. Well, not quite, according to the bill from the retouching company that describes all the work they had to do to make her acceptable for this cover, such as clean up complexion, soften eye lines, trim chin, remove necklines. In addition to retouching photographs of real women, computers can create women who do not exist. A Mirabella cover featured parts of different women's faces, one woman's lips, another's eyes, another's nose, combined to form the perfect face. Recently, a computer graphics company introduced a totally computer-generated model. Not a still image, but a moving image that looks like a real person. Soon we won't need real models at all, and the ideal image will be more impossible than ever before. This wouldn't matter so much if it didn't connect with the core belief of American culture that such transformation is possible, that we can look like this if we just try hard enough, buy the right products. If we're not beautiful or thin or rich or successful, it's because we're just not trying hard enough. And the research is clear that this ideal image does affect women's self-esteem, and it also influences how men feel about the real women they are with. And women's bodies are still, in fact, perhaps more than ever, turned into objects, into things. And of course, this has very serious consequences. For one thing, it creates a climate in which there's widespread and increasing violence against women. Here she's become the bottle of alcohol with a label branded on her stomach. Now, I'm not at all saying that an ad like this directly causes violence. It's not that simple. But it is part of a cultural climate in which women are seen as things, as objects. And certainly turning a human being into a thing is almost always the first step toward justifying violence against that person. We see this with racism, we see it with homophobia. It's always the same process. We think of the person as less than human, and violence becomes inevitable. And that step is already taken with women. So the violence, the abuse, is partly the chilling but logical result of this kind of objectification. Now, this is a problem for all women, of course, but particularly women of color, who are often literally shown as animals, dressed in leopard skins, in animal prints. Over and over again, the real message is not fully human. 10 years ago, even the advertisers acknowledged this in an editorial that they put in Advertising Age, their major publication. Clearly, it's time to wipe out sexism in beer ads, for the brewers and their agencies to wake up and join the rest of America in realizing that sexism, sexual harassment, and the cultural portrayal of women in advertising are inextricably linked. So here the advertisers are saying, yes, we sell more than products. Yes, the images in our lives affect the reality of our lives, and how could they not?